Welcome back to Sports Charlotte. I'm your host, Ashley Mahoney. Herb White, our editor-in-chief. My co-host is not with us this morning, but don't worry, he will be back soon. And joining us today, we have Charlotte native, professional soccer player, goalkeeper extraordinaire, Brandon Miller. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Absolutely. And hey, we're caffeinated, got water. We're good. We're ready to roll this beautiful Saturday morning, despite whatever is going on outside. It's a little dreary, a little gray, a little typical mid-August in Charlotte. You never know what you're going to get. But you guys get to play in it tonight. And I know that it was a late one.
Exactly.
So you're praying for no storms, no lightning. Just let us get the full 90 minutes in, move on to the next one. So tell me a bit about, being this far into the condensed USL Championship season. It's a 16-game regular season. You're 5 games in. What, aside from the obvious parts that are very, very different about a normal season, what are some of the biggest differences with heading into this condensed USL Championship regular season?
I think it's just getting used to the lack of, training. We have, obviously we're not playing every single day, but it's hard to get the consistent training sessions in that you're used to, and the time you have to improve on certain things. Because now we're played Wednesday. You don't typically have a hard session after the day after a game, and then the day before a game you don't typically have a hard session, and here we are game day now. So you don't have a lot of time in between games to really correct things on the field that you want to. So you have to depend a lot on video sessions and a lot on just communication between players and the coaching staff, understanding what went wrong and how we can fix it, and not necessarily being able to do it on the field as much as you would like.
That being said, you guys played your second match back at Birmingham. It was a 4-1 loss, and then turn around and played them again this past Wednesday night, held them to a 1-1 draw at the Sportsplex at Matthews. Like you said, there's not as much time for training, so the quite significant difference in a 4-1 result versus holding them to that 1-1 draw. What were some of the biggest differences between those two matches?
Just a much more focus on the defensive side of things. We really had a discussion about what we needed to improve after that match. Even after the Memphis match where we gave up 2 goals, there were things that needed to be improved. And so giving up 6 goals in the first 2 games back just wasn't ideal. And so we really had to look at what defensively, starting up front and all the way, going all the way back to me, what we need to improve on, the communication aspect, the movement aspect as we shift as a team, how we can improve the little things, the little individual mistakes that lead to a lot of the goals that we're giving up.
And you've had a consistent back four throughout the stretch. But you will also have a lot of games coming up in the next month and a half. It'll be 4 for the rest of the month, 7 heading into September. Whichever league you're playing in any part of the world, that's a lot of playing in a very short amount of time. How do you expect Coach Jeffries to perhaps make alterations to the lineup, perhaps get some of the younger guys in, or will it be more of a matter of, all right, just see how everyone's feeling, and if it's working, keep it?
I think it's got to be a mixture of both. I think you look at who's performing well, and you don't really want to overload them and really break them down too early in the season. But at the same time, you don't want to break that rhythm. You look at Dane, who scored 3 goals in the past 3 games, and he's doing well, performing well up front. It's about managing his workload as well as keeping him in rhythm so that he can continue to score and continue to perform for the team. But we also have a good number of guys who can step in and contribute to the team. So it's just a matter of, like you said, we've got 4 games in the next 15 days. I'm sure there will be some changes, but it's having confidence in those guys to step in and do the work necessary to get the results.
Obviously, you are a veteran leader with the squad. You know the league inside and out, but you also have young guys like Balance and Sabella who are really just getting their first taste of professional soccer through the USL Championship. How are you seeing them adapt to this level of play? And are there any particular areas you'd like to see them improve despite having a very interesting set of circumstances to do it in over the next month and a half?
I think the young guys have done well to come in, and main thing is confidence. Being able to do it in practice is one thing, and being able to do it in a game against a quality opponent is another thing. I think that if you see the way Valentine came in last year versus where he's at now, I think there's been a lot of growth there in terms of his confidence on the field and his ability to connect with players and go at players and create things. So I've been happy for him, been proud of him for his development there. I think the main thing for the young guys, and you can look at it last game, we gave up a goal in the 93rd minute when we're a man up and we're one goal up. I think we can manage that game better to get our first win since coming back and to get our first shutout since coming back. So I think little things, those are little growth areas that can still be improved on. I think we managed that game. We get out of there with a 1-0 win, a big win for us, and a big 3 points. So hopefully we can learn from that experience and learn how to manage games better towards the end.
Of course, you've been very active throughout the, I'd hate to call it the season suspension, if you will, in the time from March until now. And of course, community advocacy is something that is very important to you as well as to your teammate center back Hugh Roberts. But tell us a bit about what you've been doing off the pitch, particularly with groups like the Young Investor Society, like Heal Charlotte, and just how you're making sure that your influence isn't only felt on the pitch for 90 minutes, but off the pitch as well.
Yeah. So I guess originally I got involved with. I'll start with Heal Charlotte. I got involved with Heal Charlotte because I live over near Camp North End, and if anyone's familiar with the area, that's pretty close to where what many people refer to as Tent City, where a lot of the homeless in this area in Charlotte live. And driving by that area every single day, it started to take a toll on me, and I'm just realized like, what can I do to help these people? What can I do to help? Because a lot of these people look like me. There's a lot of minority people in these communities who don't have the resources. On Juneteenth, actually, I was at a rally uptown, and I heard Greg Jackson, the founder of Heal Charlotte, speak, and I just knew that was an organization I wanted to be a part of, and so I reached out to him. We connected, we had conversations. I just wanted to see what I could do as a professional soccer player, as a Black man, as a native of this community to help amplify his voice and to help his organization grow. And so, what we've been doing so far is just raising money every single game to help support them, because there's a lot of things that they do within the community that people don't really know. For example, they house families who need temporary housing, and that costs money, obviously. And so, some of the money that we're raising goes towards that. They have an initiative where they want to purchase a motel and develop that into low-income housing. And some of the money is going to go towards that. We're working on a policy campaign right now that's towards low-income housing in the area and how we can increase those units to help the homelessness population in this area. So that's one organization that I felt was really big for me. That's more so on a local level. Being a Charlotte native, I want to impact this community I grew up in as much as possible, and I think that's one major way that we can do that, especially in this COVID era right now that's causing a lot of issues in terms of housing. But also with the Young Investor Society, I thought that was something that was key for me personally, because I went to Charlotte Country Day. I went to University of North Carolina Woman, and the first finance class I took was when I was a senior in college. And I didn't really think that it was that beneficial for me at the time. Maybe it was I didn't pay attention enough, but I don't think it was engaging enough, and I don't think it gave enough real life information to where I could go out into the world and make the decisions. I bought my first house back in 2017, and I didn't really know enough about the process to really feel comfortable with it, but I knew I wanted to purchase a property to have an investment, things like that. But if I can get that information out to kids at a younger age, specifically in these at-risk communities, these low-income areas where money may not be talked about as much as I went to Charlotte Country Day, where a lot of these parents, a lot of these leaders are, they're CEOs, they're prominent people in big companies. These are, you have to think about the conversations that kids are hearing at home in those neighborhoods versus the conversations kids are hearing at home in lower income neighborhoods. Like there's different things that they're learning. And so if this program can help these at-risk youth, learn more about financial literacy, and then hopefully take that back into their communities to then grow businesses, or just instill this type of learning, this type of education that can help them grow. I think it can be a massive success. And so that's why I'm pushing this program so hard, because I think it can be really impactful in a lot of communities in the Charlotte area.
At what point in your career, or perhaps this was something that you always felt was kind of a calling for you to be not just, yes, fantastic goalkeeper, do your job, great, and wonderful, but to really take that extra step of advocacy and say, there are things that can be impacted by my presence in this sport. Here's a way to translate that onto a larger scale.
I mean, I would say I probably didn't realize my ability to make an impact probably until like maybe 2017, even 2018. I've always wanted to do more, specifically in terms of business, but I never really knew what exactly I wanted to do or how I was able to do it. And then, I mean, I can't really think of a moment where I was like, hey, this is what I need to do. But it just became more obvious to me that my impact was a lot greater than just on the soccer field. My goal is to be the best soccer player I can be, but my ultimate goal is to be the best person I can be. And in order to be the best person I can be, I have to be able to impact other people's lives, because I just don't feel like my life is really as meaningful if I'm not able to share the knowledge I have and share the resources and everything that I have with those less fortunate.
And something that you've participated in over the last several months has been Hugh on his podcast, Backyard Buddy. He's had multiple Black Lives Matter episodes to really understand the perspective of what it's like to be a Black American soccer player playing the game in this country, or playing the game in, for instance, Germany or any number of places, but the unique experience as well as that of Black coaches. But something I asked him about yesterday was, you look at the history of the game here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but none of the levels here have ever had a Black head coach. There's been, even with the Independence organization, not to take anything away from the coaches and the staff there, but you see it's a lot of white guys. And that's something that just carries through, whether you're talking about the Eagles, whether you're talking about any number of clubs. You had Patrick Baca with Stumptown, but in essence, that's it. Charlotte now has a Major League Soccer franchise, and they're in the process of putting that staff together. And thus far, as a whole, all of their hires, they have 2 people of color. What do you want to see with this organization that, for all intents and purposes, has a clean slate? They don't have any historical things to fall back on and say, oh, well, these people have always been here. This is just how it's been done. What do you want to see from them going forward as a true reflection of the game as they start in 2022?
I think it's just got to be a reflection of the community, and so unless another community, right? And the Charlotte community isn't just the that. So I think that your organization, whether it's your players, whether it's your coaching staff, your technical staff, the front office, that has to be a reflection of your community and who's represented in your community. You've got a large Hispanic community, you got a large Black community, it's minorities communities in different pockets all around Charlotte, as well as a large white community. I mean, you have to have a representation for those communities, and it's not just a representation, but you got to be able to empower those people to make decisions within your organization, which are going to impact your organization and ultimately impact the community. So it's not simply just hiring a ticket salesperson, a Black ticket salesperson, to go make phone calls to the Black community. How are we empowering those people to make decisions that will ultimately impact the Black community in a positive way on the soccer side as well as just in general. So that would be my hope for an organization that's building within the Charlotte community, is that they're going to actually represent the community as a whole.
And I'm going to pivot a little bit back toward tonight and the next 4 games going forward. 1, what's your prediction for the result tonight? And 2, how does the club finish over the next 4 games? Is it a 4-game win streak? I mean, that would be ideal, of course, but if you could pull out your crystal ball, how do the next 4 games go?
I think we build on what our results on Wednesday. Obviously, giving up the 93rd minute goal wasn't ideal, but we played well in large stretches for that first win since coming back, and our first shutout since coming back. And with a week break, I think we have some time to adjust any kinks that we have moving forward, and we go into Miami feeling pretty confident. I feel confident that over the next 4 games we can collect a number of points, a number of wins. We play Miami and CFC and Birmingham, if I'm correct. And so it's three of the next 4 games being at home, and obviously no fans around, but in an environment that we're comfortable in. Past 2 games at home, we've gotten at least a point, so I feel confident that we can end the month with at least a few wins.
Well, hey, it would be the first one since the season opener in March at Sporting KC2. So much success with not only tonight, like you said, fans aren't allowed, media isn't allowed. I'll be bugging you all a lot more via Sports Charlotte, which we look forward to. We appreciate your time. As always, Brandon, tell people how they can connect with you, with your brand Prime Focus Goalkeeping, and what's the best way to get in contact with you?
I'm honestly getting in contact with me easy. They reach me on social media, my personal social media, Prime Focus GK on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. We've got a YouTube channel as well, and you can head to the website. We add different blog content every single day, www.primefocusgoalkeeping.com. You can check out the blog. You can check out some of our training videos. I just added a new apparel shop, which we're pretty excited about, and we just launched a new line of goalkeeper gloves, the Prime Focus Cyclone. So you can go check us out on there. You can reach me. You can reach out to us on there as well. There's a contact form, so there's plenty of ways to get in contact with me. I'm pretty reachable, and I respond to pretty much everyone. So just anytime you guys want to check us out, follow us, or ask any questions, just reach me anywhere.
Fantastic. And as always, appreciate your time. And make sure that if you have not already subscribed, that you go over to thecharlottepost.com, click on the QCFC tab under sports, basically any QCFC story. You will find a link there where you can subscribe to our Tuesday morning newsletter. And gosh, we've done 30, we're pushing 40 with all of these, which is hard to imagine because that means that from the beginning of 2020, we're over halfway through. We're talking middle of August. It's August 15th for crying out loud. But until then, make sure that you subscribe to Sports Charlotte on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, go find us, do all the fabulous things. And until next time, I'm your host, Ashley Mahoney. Thank you for joining us.